A lot of people believe that social media will just be this sort of discovery and growth engine. Like if I show up there and I make good enough posts, clients and customers will find me and I will make money. And the reality is that's just not true in any medium or any marketing channel. We have to find the places where our message reaches the right people and resonates in the right ways. And that might take experimentation.
Will you tell the listener what they can expect to learn from sitting and chatting with you today?
Essentially, what we'll unpack today is this myth that you have to be on social media to have a successful business. We're going to dive into all of the reasons we believe that, as well as why it's not really true for most businesses. That's what we'll get up to, I hope, in this episode.
Could imagine that someone coming into today's episode has this side-eye skepticism coming in, and they're saying, is it really possible to grow, I should say run, let alone grow a online business successfully without being on social media? I would love to hear your answer to that.
Yes. So I think it is absolutely possible to run an online business without social media. I speak from my own experience in which I do that, and also from the experiences of dozens and hundreds of online business owners who I've worked with in all sorts of industries and business models. That said, I am not here to paint some naive, rosy picture that every single business can leave social media and be as successful as every other business. Each business is unique. And what I think is most interesting is to sort of take apart, what do you think social media will do for your business? And will it actually do that? Because a lot of people believe that social media will just be this sort of discovery and growth engine. Like if I show up there and I make good enough posts, clients and customers will find me and I will make money. And that is not the case. I don't actually know any business owner who thinks social media is working that way for them anymore. And so once we sort of break apart that idea, then what we can do is determine if social media is the right fit for what your business needs.
What do you think some of the mistakes are that you see most often when people leave social media?
A super common mistake is ghosting your audience. So I see people just dip out and log off and never communicate that they've done that. And if you're just using social media for your personal life and you start to text your friends instead, that's fine. That's
Right.
totally normal. But if you've been building an audience around your business on social media and then you just disappear one day, those people aren't going to go look for you and figure out what you've been doing. They're just going to kind of forget you existed based on how the algorithm works on these apps. And so I think it's really important if you want to leave that you actually communicate that clearly and kindly and consistently to your audience so that people can be in touch with you in other places, typically by subscribing to your email list before you make your exit. So that's the huge mistake is ghosting your audience. I think then a second mistake is thinking that when you leave social media, you don't need to do any other marketing or leaving without another channel set up. So I think that is a version of that. So if you are leaving social media, where can those people follow you instead? Is it going to be your email list? Is it going to be your podcast? Is it going to be through, a sort of text message based communication? I'm a fan of SMS marketing for some businesses. So I think that that's a second mistake is exiting social without setting up a clear landing place for people to find you. The third mistake I'll share is kind of leaving social media without recognizing that there might be an emotional process for you in that. I think that for a lot of us, when we leave social media, we actually have to grieve a lot of the things we used to have there or used to find there. We have to be open to the fact that this might be a tumultuous emotional experience for us. And I've seen some business owners sort of treat it as a real strategic problem to solve, which is great. But then they underestimate that a lot of feelings are going to come up and that can kind of muddy the process. So I think those are the three mistakes that I would say is ghosting your audience, not setting up another marketing channel people can follow you to, and then not addressing any of the feelings that might come up along the way. I think that the more time we can give ourselves and our audiences to leave with care and leave intentionally, or even just step back intentionally. So I think maybe I haven't even clarified, like, what does it mean to leave social media? Because there are a lot of versions of this, right? Like, even you, Sam, like, in some ways, you have left social media by hiring a team to run it for you. That's like one version of leaving social media. Another version can be creating a sort of 9 grid and leaving your profile there, but you're not active anymore. Another version can be completely deleting your or deactivating or deleting your accounts. So there are all these versions of leaving social media that need different amounts of time and runway, different degrees of communication and care. It's a really personal process. I think we don't talk about that side of it enough.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like I see a lot of people announce their exits only to come right back. That's one interesting
Uh-huh.
pattern that I've noticed. Or I hear people pre-announce like a very scheduled departure, like I'll be gone for the next 30 days or I'll be gone for the summer. How have you seen those work out and or not work out in the past?
So I think there are two versions of this. One is like a platform shift. I see a lot of people leave social media to go to YouTube or to go to Substack. And what they find is then on YouTube or Substack, there's still the same like algorithmic logic that they were experiencing on social media. If you are in a position where you're like, social media is working for me and my business, but it's not working for me emotionally or energetically right now, a break can be a great solution for that. And honestly, I did all of those in my own, like,
Yeah.
I sort of baby stepped my way off social media over the course of a few years.
Yeah, I think that's helpful for people to hear because for those listening who are already on social and maybe have complicated relationship with it, maybe they're feeling, the rightful anxiety of being like, that's a big step and it feels like a lot and people are scary. That's why, you have such a good subtitle to your podcast, without losing all of your clients because people are sitting there worried, like, if I leave, I'm going to lose all of my clients. So I think that's really helpful. I think people often confuse having an online business, meaning that you provide your services virtually, with like having to do all your marketing virtually. So I think that you
Hmm.
can have an online business that provides these virtual services, whether it's like Amelia and you're doing podcast production or you're a coach offering services or running group programs, that can all be virtual. You don't need to do, you don't need to be running across town meeting people at coffee shops, or you can if you want, but you don't have to. And it does open up this ability for you to work with people, all over the world, which is great. And hire a team that's virtual and all of these kinds of things. But then the marketing can be more on the ground. Like they don't both have to be delivered in the same way.
Yeah, absolutely. When I first started my business, I had a totally virtual business, but I joined my local chamber of commerce and I
Yeah.
went to meetings and I met people. And that didn't like actually bring a lot of business my way, but it taught me a lot about how other people's businesses functioned. And they didn't quite know what to do with me because they didn't have a lot of online businesses in the group, but it's all these opportunities for connecting and other things. Like I have this list of 100 ways to share your work and life without social media. And some of them are virtual, but many of them are in person. Like literally right now in my email inbox, I'm talking to a local like billboard company to figure out how to put up a billboard for the book that I'm writing. And that is something I can do. And it's not virtual, even though the book will only be available for purchase virtually. And I don't intend to really do much store distribution or anything like that because I'm self publishing. So much of the mindset shift around leaving social media is just stepping away from this idea that social media is the one and only marketing method and really opening your mind to like, what if in fact there are so many other things you could do and that's not draining, it's exciting. It's actually quite thrilling to do a bunch of cool, interesting, different, innovative things rather than being like just another person on Instagram.
It's kind of funny for me to be sitting here and having this conversation with you, thinking about how the business owners that I hear from so often who are struggling they're also putting all their eggs in the social media basket. And what I'm hearing from them time and time again is like, I'm trying so hard over there. I'm spending so much time and nothing's working, but they still see it as the only way.
Yeah. I mean, that makes me sad to hear, honestly. Like, I can empathize because that's how I was for quite a while. I've shared on my own show my journey to leaving social media, but it really started with, frankly, like getting a book deal and selling a book and then going all in on Instagram to try to grow my platform and promote my book. And frankly, it just kind of flopped. Like, I did all of the quote unquote right things. I hired the professional photographer. I hired the brand designer. Like, I did all the stuff. It looked great. I was so on trend and on top of my content pillars. And like, it just wasn't working there for me. First, when I left, I was like, this is devastating. Like, nobody's going to pay attention to my work. I guess I'll just run my business and like I'll work with a couple dozen people a year and that's fine. But what actually ended up happening is like I found the channel that works for me, which is podcasting. And that is where I have been able to really like magnetize attention and pull people in. And I'm doing, frankly, a lot of similar stuff that I was doing on social media. It just didn't work for me on Instagram. I think there is this false promise out there that like it's sort of a version of meritocracy that if you do all the right things on social media, it'll work for you. I mean, frankly, the same thing in podcasting. People think like if you do all the right things with your podcast, it will get big. And the reality is like that's just not true in any medium or any marketing channel. We like have to find the places where our message reaches the right people and resonates in the right ways. And that might take experimentation. The first part of it is like you do have to build a body of work, by which I mean other people can see it. Like it can all be online. Your body of work can be a bunch of great blog posts. Your body of work can be a cool podcast. Your body of work could be fantastic testimonials from coaching clients you've worked with. Like there are many options, but it needs to exist because I will regularly get pitches from people who have like a broken website and know where I can go really find them online. And I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. Or like if there's not anywhere I can direct my audience to connect with you further, like I'm not going to feature you and there's nowhere for me to send them. And also I can't see the work that you've done. You can be in my inbox telling me what it is and how good it is all day. But if I can't point to your body of work and I can't be excited by it, it's not going to take me any farther. So building that body of work is really important here. The other thing is like being a good community member, a good relator, a good friend. Like, as I just talked about, I was in other people's communities for years before I started one of my own or launched my own business or launched my own membership. Like, I really believe in sort of paying into the space, giving your energy to the field you want to be in before you start asking people to buy things from you. And
Mm.
again, this is not the Shark Tank model of doing business. This is not the VC funded way of doing business where it's like, if you have a smart enough idea and you can put enough money behind it, you can build a business. If you want to do business that way, there are so many people out there who want to teach it to you. It's just not me. And it might require social media. It's like, you want to be on my podcast? The fastest way is to join my membership, start showing up to stuff, show me how cool your body of work is, and then send me a pitch. And I'm probably going to say yes to it if it makes sense for the show. Like I've had so many of my interweb members on the podcast, and I've gotten so many pitches from people where I'm like, this is cool. I'll put you in line behind the 10 other copywriters I know who have already invested in my work. Right. So
Yeah.
it's that balance. Like, I'm not saying like, oh, if you join somebody's community, they're then indebted to have you on their
Yeah.
podcast. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying that like genuine relationship building, so like building your body of work and building your relationships is like what comes before the pitch.
If they want to leave social media, let's recap. What do you think that they should do first? 3 things.
So if you're already on social media and you want to leave, I mean, your first step is to make a clear decision that you want to leave and how you want to leave, by which I mean like full exit, deactivation, or break, like figuring out, do I want this and what version of this do I want? Then your next step is to figure out where else your audience can connect with you. And then your third step is to begin communicating that you're leaving and when you're leaving and how people can stay in touch. That's sort of your process that eventually gets you to a log off or log out date. For folks who are interested, I have a whole free toolkit on this that includes a 5-step plan for leaving any social platform, as well as that list of 100 ways to share your work without social that I mentioned earlier. So I'm not sure my recap here was the most helpful, but if you like a really clear, like check list, that is available for you online as well.
No, I think that was really helpful. I also think they're going to love your freebie. I know you talk about that a lot on the podcast, so that's going to be really helpful. And obviously, go check out Amelia's podcast, Off the Grid. Amelia, where else would you like people to find you other than the freebie and the podcast?
Yeah, I mean, you can find all of that at offthegrid.fun. The toolkit's at offthegrid.fun/toolkit. So that's really where you're going to get everything I have to share and say about stepping back or away from social media. If you want to connect with me personally, you can find me at ameliahruby.com. And if you want to learn more about podcasting, you can find the studio at softersounds.studio.
Great. I will make sure all of those are in the show notes. Thank you so much for being here, Amelia. It was a real honor.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Sam. I'm so grateful that we've gotten to know each other this spring and done all these great podcast swaps.
I know, me too. Yeah, I guess I should also link to our episode. I was on Off the
Yes.
Grid, so I will also link to our conversation down below. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.